Hey guys, it's David from the Screaming Brain. So I know a few of you have asked for a recent update on our Kickstarter progress. So I want to shoot a little video showing kind of what's up. So right here I have the print prototype. This just came in from our manufacturer in China. This is essentially the prototype that is essentially going to be exactly like how the finished product will be. Now, there's a couple things different with it. It doesn't have the kind of simple box insert that we're working with, and it doesn't have kind of the shrink wrapped components. But for all intents and purposes, this is kind of basically what the game is and the components are going to look like. Now, there are a couple inconsistencies, just because this is just the prototype in the first print run, and there's going to be a couple things I'm going to be going back to our manufacturer just to get adjusted. But I kind of wanted to show you guys what the game was going to look like, and so you can see kind of the progress we've made so far. So let me open this up. So we ended up going with an 8x8 by 2-inch box. I'm just going to set this down really quick so I can kind of open this up. Let's see. There we go. So it's 8x8 by 2, so it is a relatively small box. It's got some depth to it, but you can see, some of the information there. So the game is 1 to 5 players now, with the additional 2 variants, which has the solo mode variant and then the 1 versus all, which lets it expand to 5 players. There's some of the shrink wrap. So we have some of the extra bags that'll be coming in the game for your components. We have the plastic stands. These are the transparent plastic stands that both the player pawns and the ghost pawns are going to be sitting on. These little stands. I'll put some of the pawns in them so you can see exactly how that was going to look. And I believe there's 16 of them. I can't remember offhand. I can't remember how many player cards or character cards we ended up finishing out with all the stretch goals, but I'll definitely check through that. We have the time dice, so just kind of standard 6-sided black dice, white pips, which will be going onto the time clock, keeping track of how much time you have left to perform the exorcism. We have the darkness cards. So again, in the prototype, they aren't shrink wrapped. In the final, they absolutely will be. But just take a look at those. If you've gone through kind of our videos, these will look pretty familiar. There weren't many changes on the cards themselves. So it's all pretty standard going on there. Wow, really happy. This some really good thickness. I think we ended up going with I think it's a 320 GSM for the thickness. Got a really good feel to them, a little bit of gloss, so it feels nice in the hands. Okay, the darkness cards. I think this is the task cards. Let's see. Oh, so it's going to be task and plans. So the plan cards have that red back to them. I might go back to them. That border seems a little bit off. So I just might double check with the manufacturer on that, see what happened. But all the colors look pretty good. I'll have to go through and check all of these individually just to make sure everything looks right. But those are the plan cards for it. I think we ended up going with 32 different plan cards. Give you some cool variation, some interesting powers that you can do. The task deck, again, the cut margin is a little off, but that's something we can take a look at. So these are the different tasks. So, you have your to complete, the cards that you need in your hand to be able to complete it, and then your reward, as well as some ongoing abilities. So you have all of our task cards, again with that kind of semi-gloss texture to them. Let's see, so these are going to be the compilation of tool cards. Now, we listened, after going to these conventions and even talking with some of you guys, we found in the testing that some people were getting a little confused by the art that was on the back side of it. So we did end up just going with double-sided cards for all of the tools. We kept getting feedback that the art was making it confusing, or if there was multiple images on the reverse side, that some people were thinking that it counted as multiples of the same card. So we ended up just going with kind of the simple iconography on both sides of it, just to make things a little bit easier and a little bit cleaner for play. So that way you also don't have to decide which way you're going to be facing it. You can just kind of put it down in front of you exactly how you want it. Okay, so let's see. So in this one, so we have the new player aid card. So we have the turn order, which tells you everything you can do on your turn. You know, basically breaks down the entire turn, gives you your actions. And then the reverse side, we put on a icon glossary. Just to help, some people thought that the icons were a little tricky, matching up the first or second plays. So we ended up just taking the other side of our turn order card and adding a neat little glossary to it. So we have, let's see, 3, 4, 5 of those. Having 5 of those cards now that we have those expanded players. Have our Shrouded Room tokens for if you happened to lose rooms in the house, which will probably end up happening. And then we have our rooms themselves. So these are the secret rooms with the kind of that unlocked icon on them. The theater, the sunroom, the stairwell, pit, inescapable cell, a bunch of those. Let's see. Oh, and do those last. Keep those for fun. And then the regular rooms. So the playroom, the office, living room, library. These all, again, I'm really liking how these came out. The red from the printer really pops on these. Gonna have to check on, those margins again. Things getting a little cut off, but that's something we'll be able to fix with them. That's just how it's gonna happen on the first print run. With cuts aren't gonna quite work right. But something we can solve pretty easily. I mean, that's why we do these kind of production prototypes. So, and then the last thing, well, not the last thing, but the last of the cards here, we have the character cards. So these are the characters, including all of the custom backer cards. For anyone who backed our Kickstarter at the You're an Investigator Now level, you will be seeing your card in here. Not for the first time for you guys, because you've seen the art, but for the majority of our backers, it'll be the first time you see it. So we have the standard ones, we have the Architect, Roxanne ends up probably one of my favorite characters, actually, just because she can kind of manipulate the layout of the house and change how the rooms work. We have the Archivist, Craig Wright, who's one of our backers. Thanks, Craig. I love doing the art for this, especially you gave me the photo with kind of the bookcase behind you, which ended up being a ton of fun. So the Archivist, we have the Baby Telepath. One of our backers decided to have their 3-month-old as part of one of the characters, so now you can be walking around the house of your party with a little baby telepath, levitating some objects around her. We have the Bodyguard, another one of our backers, the Carpenter. Thanks, Josh. I loved kind of modifying the graphic tee you had on a little bit to add our own little flair to it. It was a lot of fun. We have the Detective, the Doctor. Another one of our backers, the friendly local game store manager, Ben. Thanks, Ben, for backing with the Quarterstaff Games t-shirt. That's the store he runs here in Burlington, Vermont. He's actually also a member of the 501st, so we thought it would be fun and kind of appropriate to give him a Stormtrooper helm for it. So I thought that'd be a lot of fun. The Journalist, the Medium. If you looked at our print and play or any of that, these ones will look pretty familiar. The Photographer. Another one backer has added their dog to the game, so we have an animal friend named Perot, after the investigator from, I think, the same name series. So we have a dog now you can be running around the house with. Psychologist. We have the Teacher, Lisa Welp, who is an avid hiker, so got her all decked out in her hiking gear, looking a little bit more adventurous than a teacher normally would. But yeah, thanks so much for backing and getting yourself into the game. We have another animal friend. Apparently adding dogs to the game was pretty popular. So we have another animal friend, Teddy. Kind of a short, stout, little happy dog guy. So he's pretty fun. You can basically have if you're playing a 3-player game, you can almost have a 2-dog and a baby party, which can be fun. And then the last one, we have the video store owner, Ed. Ed, who lives in Florida, so we gave him a fun little palm tree shirt. I really liked how this one came out. It was pretty fun, kind of giving him a little custom shirt. So thank you, Ed, for backing and getting yourself in the game. So that is all of the character cards we have. So let's see. So now we have the full-on rule book. So again, the rule book, it's not quite 8x8, just because it wouldn't fit into the box itself. Let me bring this out a little bit so you can see the full thing. So that is the rule book for it. Let me just kind of scan through a couple of these pages. So let's see. I apologize for moving around the camera so much. So yeah, so you have your overview, component list, component overview. Again, actually, I think this version of the rulebook is already posted online at our website. So if you want to take a look and see exactly what made it into the rules, you can take a look at the screamingbrain.com under our games section. So you have your layout page, the important terms, glossary, the character card, the different ghosts in the game. Yeah, this came out great. I'm really happy with it. It's a pretty heavy stock. It's heavier than I think some manuals you'll see. I'm trying to think offhand. I think it's a little bit heavier than kind of your standard Fantasy Flight rulebook. We did add a little FAQ, so we have kind of a page and a half FAQ going on this page and a little bit on to the next. Just some questions we got during conventions when we were demoing and doing some blind testing that our testers would kind of bring up. And then, of course, our thank you page to everyone who backed the game and gave us access to put their name on it. And then the last two pages, we do have our game variants. So again, this has the rules for the one versus all version of the game, where one player gets to play as a ghost and the other players are playing as the investigator, as well as the solo mode play, which is a very different way to play the game. So you could do this solo mode variant, or if you wanted, you could technically play it by just taking 2 or more character cards and playing it that way. But if you are doing solo, I would definitely recommend this. We did a lot of testing with it, and I think it's a lot of fun. So that is the rule book. Moving on. So now our Punchouts. Oh, before that, one last kind of card. Just our addict card, which is the score tracker for playing the game. So now the Punchout. So the first Punchout is our character Punchout. So we ended up with 16 different characters in the game. You can kind of see them all here. And again, that's double-sided. It's a pretty good size, actually. Oh, looks like the bodyguard wanted to come out. So that's what that looks like. If you can zoom in a little bit, there we go. So you can play as the bodyguard. And so if you're playing as the bodyguard, you take that, and then one of our standees is gonna try and do this one-handed. Oh, not working. Come on. There we go. Let's put that down there. Grab him, and that'll just slot in right there. Perfect. And so you'll have your little character stand that will be showing up on the board. Come on, zoom in. Focus. Not quite, but yeah. So that's how the stands are going to work. So you have enough stands for every character that comes from the Punch-Out sheet, as well as 3 for each of the ghosts. So there's all of our whole kind of bizarre cast of characters. Over there. Oop, journalist fell. Okay, so the next sheet. So this is the stands for the 3 different ghosts. A first player token, which is that kind of like eclipsing moon token, and then all of the exorcism tokens, which are these kind of white stars with the red rim kind of thing. I like how these came out. I actually kind of like how they feel a little bit better than the wood tokens, surprisingly. I think they'll look really nice on the board once you start playing with these. And again, if you did back it at one of the higher levels, you will be getting token bags for all of your Exorcism and Darkness tokens. And just so I can take a look, I'm just going to pop this guy out, the Wraith. So again, all of the standees will go into the little bases that we have included. So just pop him right in there. One hand is hard. Awesome. So you'll have him in there. So then, I just love how the ghosts end up just totally dwarfing. Oop, wrong way. End up just totally dwarfing the characters. That's gonna be really, really intimidating looking on the board. I'm pretty excited to get this set up and take some photos to start putting up on our Facebook and Twitter page. Put this guy's aside. So you have the 3 different ghosts and your exorcism tokens. And then the one under that. Oop, this guy popped out. So you have your big clock tile. Ooh. There we go. So the big clock tile, as well as all of the darkness tokens, the little black tokens with kind of the ghost figure on it. And then the white square, which will track your points on the addict card. And then this little black and red circle, which is going to keep track of your darkness on those outside spaces on the clock. So that looks to be everything. Yeah, we can take a look at the back of the box itself. So we have our full layout on the back, so it shows a little bit of the game. Again, the game info, our UPC code. So we will be doing a full retail release of the game, so we did go ahead and get that produced. Some of our contact info, a red modification to this funded with Kickstarter logo. Figured having that bright green on the back of the red, black, and white box wasn't going to look super right, so we did change it to red, and I think it looks pretty good actually. Even though being a random Kickstarter logo, and then of course the Screaming Brain logo. So yeah, in terms of what we've been doing, it's been pretty much leading up to this. We spent a lot of time kind of going back and forth with our manufacturer, making sure that we got all of our custom die cuts for these cutouts right, going back and forth and getting the cart set up, which took quite a bit of time. Now that we've gotten our production prototype, I have to pour through it a little bit more just to make sure that I'm not missing anything besides some of those margin issues you saw. But for the most part, I think everything looks good. So we're going to try and make a couple of those adjustments, like I mentioned, and then hopefully move forward onto full production. So once I give our manufacturer, Bangui, the go-ahead, I'll be able to put out an exact timeline on when you can expect it. So again, thanks guys. Thanks everyone who backed us and helped us out and helped spread the word about the Exorcism at the House of Monkton Falls. We really appreciate it. None of this would have been able to happen without your help and your funding. And I'm really excited to get this in full manufacturing and get this shipped out to all of you. So thank you so much and have a good day.